David, can you tell me more about intent-based leadership? What does it actually mean?
Intent-based leadership moves an organization from a permission-based organization where people wait to be told what to do to an intent-based organization. So what it sounds like is, hey, here's what I intend to do, here's why it's the right thing to do, and here's why I'm showing you why we're doing it right or how we're doing it right. And then I'm opening the door for feedback. And that does a number of good things. Well, number one, people feel ownership now of those decisions, because otherwise you can't say, oh, I didn't know. Number two, it creates a bias for action because we remove the latencies of waiting for permission, and it creates more responsible better decision making, because people, if they know that this is going to happen, that they're like, ooh, I better make sure this is really the right thing to do.
When you started thinking about intent-based leadership, was this a pre-organized thinking process, or did you stumble upon it?
No, I stumbled. It was chaos and disaster and panic and fear. So I was a submarine commander who gave no commands. But they had to come to me and say, here's what I intend to do, not wait for permission. So it was not, in fact, the label, that came afterwards, but at the time it was super messy.
I was wondering if you could talk me through the process that you had of thinking about intent-based leadership and how that evolved.
10 years after I left the submarine, I got a phone call from one of my officers who said, I'm the 10th officer to become selected for submarine command. And I was like, wow, that is a big number. That's way bigger than the average, should be 2.5. And I realized that this is a story that I thought I wanted to tell, which was, you're only so good as a leader as what happens the day you leave. You're an achiever up to the day you leave, and then we're going to start the leadership scorecard. And what we're going to do is we're going to see how your organization did that you left behind, and how did the people do who left you. And if they're not doing at least as well as when you were there, then you cheated them. You made it be about you. And so, and there were just too many leadership books about how great I am, and if you were more like me, you'd be a better leader. And then it was sort of fuzzy, just nebulous. Well, how'd you do it? Well, I took care of my people and I listened better. Okay, really? How? Nothing, goose eggs, crickets.
Leadership is certainly a buzzword at the moment, and it's a hot topic. What advice would you give leaders of today?
The problem is trusting people may or may not pay off, and it may take a long time. So you're buying this long-term investment in people, which is an uncertain future reward. But you know what you're giving up. You're giving up the psychological satisfaction right now of telling someone what to do and have them go off and start doing it. So there's a definite short-term loss in the hopes for this long-term uncertain benefit. But this long-term uncertain benefit is like 1,000 times better than this.
So some people, particularly in leadership roles, feel that they don't show up in their best selves. They don't feel that they're doing the best version of leadership. What advice would you give them, David?
You're wired to be a leader who takes control, gives orders, reduces variability, reduces uncertainty, and just gets people to do stuff. You're wired for that. So when you don't resist those temptations, that's when you're going to be not the leader that you wish you were working.
You talk about intent-based leadership as a practice. How does that differ from other leadership philosophies?
So I think intent-based leadership is different in at least two ways. Number one, it's the content of what we're trying to do. And it's more than just, quote, delegation. One of the phrases we use is we push the authority to the people with the information. We push authority to information, not information to authority. And it focuses very specifically on language and interaction. And we try and move really quickly past, okay, so here's the idea, to, so here's what it sounds like. And because leadership is more like a sport, it's more like learning a foreign language than it is about learning a history class. But we teach leadership like history class. Oh, here about the things, here's some theories you should know. blah, 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 cross my fingers. Okay, maybe you'll do something. Doesn't work. So if I said you need to run your company bilingually in either Spanish or English, what would you do? You would say, oh, we would have the word of the day, we'd try a little bit, we'd practice every day, just a little bit, we'd have the native Spanish speakers help. No one ever says we do a one-day offsite. So in intent-based leadership, the approach is to practice in a small way, little phrases, and then see how it works under the underlying construct of I'm trying to push the authority closer to where the information is, rather than the other way around.
Psychological safety is a really important component to intent-based leadership. How does that actually manifest in a workplace today?
Psychological safety. So first of all, as a submarine commander, I thought my job was the opposite. I was creating stress in the workplace. If we stressed the team, we somehow toughen them up. And this was the old way of treating people, because in simple physical tasks, you can't overstress people. But when you want people to think and be creative, you can overstress them. So what you want instead is safety. People have to feel safe before they will stretch and take risks. We can't provoke them into taking risks. So feeling safe means I'm not going to be ridiculed or judged for this idea that has a 50-50 chance of working. But it may be a really great idea. But if I feel like, oh, well, in the chance that it doesn't work, people are going to judge me, then I'm going to withhold that idea. So speaking up at work is trading me risking myself for the benefit of the organization. And if you want people to make that trade-off, then they have to feel safe.
David, thank you so much for your time today. It's always a pleasure to spend time with you. You're an inspiration to us, and we're lucky to be able to work together. Really appreciate your time.